Hi everyone. First disclaimer, as Lauren said, this is not a textbook of best practices. This is the story of our experience, what we tried, what we learned, and the honest outcomes. And let's start with the beginning. When you ask anybody in France about Doctolib, everybody knows it. And everybody thinks we're just a calendar for doctors. And 5 years ago, that's where we were. We had a limited solutions offering, and we were very focused on growth. And so for data, it meant that we were prioritizing short-term impact over scalability. And we ended up with high technical debt. It meant that to answer simple business questions, it would take 3 days. 5 years later, we're much more than just a calendar. We have management tool. We offer the operating systems for health professionals. We have management tools and digital secretariat, so the calendar, the reminders, etc. We allow them to acquire new patients. We support prevention and continuous care for recurring diseases. We offer them a secure messaging system so they can communicate with each other and help each other solving patient cases. We have financial solutions so they can better manage their revenue. And we have a clinical solution that supports the whole workflow, from the consultation to the prescription and the patient files. And so end of 2023, we have 70 data analysts, 15 data scientists, and one platform that has been built mainly for reporting purposes. In 2024, this happened. And so our ambition is to build AI products at scale. Pretty simple. The vision for data is twofold. The first is have seamless access to data for AI use cases, so training, inference, AI experiments, and decision making. And we want to have the ability to build, deploy, and iterate on AI products in days, not weeks, not months. We have 3 pillars in the strategy. The first is basically repay our technical debt, so build high quality data products. Then we want to push insight generation in the hands of all Doctolibers, so that the data team is not a bottleneck anymore. And we want to empower the developers with the right platform to do their job the best possible way. And all of this, we want to do it with a product approach. And so we reorganized the teams. That was the first step. So we had a big team of data analysts, a small team of analytics engineering, a small team of data science, a data platform team, and a data governance team. And so we basically killed the role of data analyst at Doctolib. We reallocated the people into new roles. So we reinforced analytics engineering for more scalability. We reinforced data science to put AI in the product. And we created a new team of product managers for data. And so my role, when I accepted the challenge, was to put product DNA at the data, in the data teams, so we can maximize our ROI. Talking about product DNA. At this time, Doctolib was trying to clarify the roles within the product teams, between product managers, engineers, and go-to-market, but we don't have go-to-market for data. And so product managers, they are in charge of building the vision, defining the strategy, being the user advocate, so being aware of all the problems they have. They are in charge of testing and validating ideas, and they are a collaboration catalyst. I'll get back to that later. Engineers, they are in charge of building the solution. They have the technical excellence to build high-quality products. They are in charge of maintaining their products, and they are the owners of their roadmap. They are the owners of the delivery. And so I want to talk with you today about 5 problems we had and how we dealt with them. The first one being we had a galaxy of assets with overlap and poor maintenance. And so my first focus as a PM was to work on vision documents. What's the vision? Where do we want to be in 2 years? And how do we get there? And so we had 2 inputs for that. The first was the product vision of Doctolib itself. And then we had, with our past lives, a great knowledge of users and their problems. And so we started to build 2 visions. One vision for data products, one vision for the data platform, and we cascaded the exercise from top to bottom to get to the domain vision, and for each domain, get a reference document for each solution. And it ensures that we can shape our product and think about it. We can enrich existing products rather than creating micro products that are going to overlap and die at some point. And it's also a great tool to market what we do, to get some feedback, and also empower the developers to innovate even more. Today where we are, so we have a first version of all of it, and we are iterating. And the next step for us is to build a cartography of all the data products that are powering these different solutions and all the services that are powering our service catalog for the data platform. Second problem, poor usability and lack of value. On this one, we had to switch from classic needs collection, like what do you need, what KPI do you need, what dashboard do you need, etc., to actually understand how the products are used with our users. In what context, what are their routines, etc. And so we started a new routine so that every product manager in my team, they have to do 2 interviews every week. They have the transcript, so we can get a summary pretty easily. And we consolidate this knowledge in a Confluence folder, basically. And we created an agent that is able to query this knowledge base. So we are able to ask some questions like, what are the pain points on finance on data? What are the hot topics for marketing? What user thinks about Metabase? And so we use it for our discovery process. And our role is to push this knowledge in the hands of the product teams, meaning the developers. So they are in contact of how the product they build are used by the users and how, like, what kind of inputs they can have additionally. The third problem was long development cycle with slow time to value. So we improved our discovery and delivery process. One of the first challenge, I'm talking about myself, that I had coming from a data analyst job to a product manager job was to draw a line between the problem and the solution. When you're a data analyst, you know your user, you know what they need, and so you build something for them. As a product manager, you have to shift a little bit, maybe a lot actually, from defining the solution to really deep dive on the problem to find the best solution with the engineers afterwards. And this generated some friction in the first quarter of our transition to make sure we have a line very clear for everyone. The second challenge we had on this was moving away from ETAs. I think everybody can relate. A lot of conversation and meetings about data often ends up with, what's the ETA? When is the ETA of your delivery? And so we try to move away from that by being very clear with our users on the approach that we want to take and have very short iterations in which we can deliver value incrementally. And when we deliver value incrementally, we can test that we are going in the right direction and what we are doing is actually meaningful and have some impact. And this with a very high focus on ROI, so constantly asking ourselves, what is the minimum investment that we can make to generate the maximum impact? Last point is on measuring success. Measuring success for data products, we use a framework with 3 axes. The first is access, so how easy is it to find information? Trust, how much do you trust the data? And then value, how often do you use data to make decisions? For the platform, it's slightly different. It's autonomy, the autonomy of the users on the platform. And the second one is the platform performance. So we have platform SLIs, and we have the coverage of the needs that we are addressing with the current services. Problem 4, siloed planning and output-oriented roadmap. So we basically changed how we do planning. The goal, we had 2 goals. The goal was to shift the mindset of the teams from delivering outputs, where we actually don't think about the impact of what we're doing, to actually delivering outcomes. So for example, let's say you work on a dashboard, you deliver a dashboard, job is done. That's the output. When you want to have an impact, you want to make sure that the dashboard is going to be used, so you can have a direct impact on adoption, and then an indirect impact on, let's say, increasing revenue, increasing satisfaction, etc. And so I'm not going to introduce OKRs anymore because everybody uses it, but that's what we try to implement. So we start 1 month before the quarter for the planning. And we work out of the same file, so everybody can see what's going on. Everybody can discuss the dependencies, and that's the most important part of the discussions at this stage. And then we have a planning review where we gather product managers, engineering managers, and the leadership to review the OKRs of every single team for 2 things. First is that everybody has the visibility of what's going on in data. And the second one is make the final trade-offs. Once we've done that, the quarter is kicked off, and we have frequent updates on the OKRs. At the beginning, it was kind of a new admin task for the teams, but we've come to realize that we actually have great discussions around what can we do to reach our targets? What adjustments do we need to make to meet our objectives? At the end of the quarter, we have an achievement review, the day before the planning review, actually, so that every team is able to and is accountable to explain their achievements, and we focus on the learnings. What can we do better in terms of planning? What can we do better on execution? And so today, we are in a much better place than what we were 2 years ago. We still have work to do to improve the process, but the routines are in place. The teams are used to it, and we have great discussions during the quarter and after the quarter. And the last problem, blurry ownership and accountability. So I was saying that we were trying to clarify the roles and responsibilities within the product teams. And what happened in the first 2 quarters, very transparently, is that people are starting to point fingers at each other. This is not my role to do this is your role to do that, etc. And so we tried to emphasize with the team that there are common goals, and they are both accountable to achieve these common goals together. And they have to find the balance for each product team. And this balance is going to be different. That's a big learning for me. From a team to another, because the individuals, they are very different from each other, they have different skill sets, and also the context, for example, technical depth, is very different from a domain to another. So I'm at peace now with that. And then the last point is that product managers, they are ultimately the ones that are accountable for outcomes. So as product managers, we don't have we don't develop, so we don't have the control over anything. We have to influence, and we have to work with different teams. So we have to work with our own teams, our own product teams. We have to work with legal, security, other teams. But that's ultimately our role to get shit done at the end of the day. Then let's do a quick use case on replatforming. So I was saying earlier that our platform, end of 2023, was built for reporting. But with our ambition, it was not fit. So we had several problems. We had scalability problems. So every time we would have to build a new AI product, a product powered by AI, we need to build a completely ad hoc pipelines. So the developer experience was pretty bad because the tools were scattered all across the place. Development velocity was pretty bad. So we had, for example, at one point, 3 months to actually build an ingestion pipeline for training, and the cost was very high. So we've put together a vision where we wanted to build a platform that makes any type of data available in a single platform. We wanted to aggressively address privacy and security risks by design, and we wanted to open the platform to the entire community in Doctolib, not just data team, to avoid, once again, being a bottleneck. We wanted this platform to integrate with the latest technology, so we don't have to re-platform again in 2 years. And we wanted to integrate the specificities of healthcare. So we've put together this vision, the solution bricks, the user flows, the success metrics, and the ROI. So we computed the ROI based on development efficiency and hosting costs. So we pitched this to the leadership that allowed us to kickstart this project. And so at this point, we defined the roadmap based on use case. So what are the different steps that any users has to do to develop an AI product? What are the services that we have to put in front so they can actually do their job? And we designed the roadmap so that we could migrate progressively the existing AI products and incorporate the new products on the platform, and to get and to avoid waiting for the end of the project to actually have benefits. And the last tip on this is pretty standard for big tech companies, but we hired a technical program manager that really helped us working out the dependencies, in aligning everybody, and also structuring the reporting. And to conclude in 2 slides, how is it going? So 2 years after, we have much more scalable data foundation. So we repaid a lot of technical debt. We still have work to do on data discoverability and also using new channels like LLM to interact with data. We doubled the volume of users at Doctolib that are able to do exploration in autonomy. And we are finalizing the replatforming with the analytics migration, the AI product migration, and the new services that we make available. And in terms of AI product, because that was the big objective of our ambitions, this is a short list of 4 products that we worked on. Consultation Assistant, that's an AI that is going to record, when it has consent, the consultation with a health practitioner. And the goal is to summarize everything in the right place of the clinical solution. So it saves time for the practitioners to actually provide better care to their patients. And today we have over 5 million consultations to date after a year of launch. Virtual Phone Assistant, it's basically an AI that can pick up the phone for you and answer questions like admin questions or interact with the doctor calendar. Doctolib Assistant is an AI included in the product to help users troubleshoot when they are struggling to use the product. And Medical Assistant for Parents, that's basically our first step towards a more personalized, a smarter, and a more preventive health companion. It's going to be integrated directly in the Doctolib app that you may have on your phone. And it's going to allow you to answer any question you have based on medically verified content about your child. So that's, as I was saying, a short list of 4 AI products that we've been working on, and we have a lot more to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tu peux me le mettre celui-là, s'il te plaît? We already have 1 question. If you want more questions, you can go on the Slido. Okay, with a growing number of features, how do you manage to define and maintain your domain repartition definition?
We try to make it high level enough so that you don't move basically from 1 month to another. Domains, they are pretty simple. There is growth for the data product. There is growth. There is HCPs, so health professionals, and patients. And this is basically how we define our activity and how the company is structured.
That answer your question? We may have time for one other question. Pierre asks, why did you kill the data analyst job?
Because to us, we wanted to switch from a project mindset, which is very present in the data analyst role, to an output also oriented delivery, to actually more scalability. And we wanted to also have more scalability at the scale of Doctolib, to avoid that we only use 70 people in the company to actually get insights from data, and be able to have most of the company actually leveraging data on their own. So that actually requires, on the other side, a lot of training, enablement, and be very close to our users to understand like how they leverage the data on a daily basis.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. And we don't have time for more questions, but thank you a lot.
Thank you.